All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video we've got some good updates in the sport of boxing, specifically Errol, Spence, Terence Crawford. Also a little bit of Showtime boxing. Derrick James has spoken out about what is taking place next for the Errol Terence Crawford fight, and in my opinion, it is something that Terence Crawford needs to be applauded for doing. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 154-pound division, where, just like I told you, the fight between Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford will take place. This according to Derrick James. Also, Derrick James has let it be known that there's some other thing, or at least through some pictures, we now know there's some other things said about the camp of Derrick James, Errol Spence, and Anthony Joshua are not true. Before I get into the details of it, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And thank you so much for continuing to support the channel. And I say that to the longtime subscribers and supporter of the channel. They always chops it up with me every day. Thank you guys so much. Now, before let me get into the details of this. All right, so it has now come out that the rematch between Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford will take place, and it will be taking place at the weight of 154 pounds. Now, this comes from Derrick James, who gave an interview with, I do believe he gave the interview with Fight Hub. So you can just Google it, go to Fight Hub. You'll have the interview. I'm sure there'll be other people that are around him that will give the information. This is some information that was given out once again at a fight where Derrick James' fighter is going to be fighting, even though some rumors were being spread around Derrick James that he no longer trained the fighter that he was there with for their press conference, and that is Ryan Garcia for his upcoming fight with Duarte. Ryan Garcia joined Derrick James' camp after he lost to Gervonta Tank Davis. And people were saying that after Errol Spence Jr. lost and Jermell Charlo lost, that Derrick James all of a sudden was going to lose all of his fighters and was losing all of his fighters. Errol Spence Jr. was firing him. Anthony Joshua was firing him. Ryan Garcia was firing him, just a lot of stuff going on around, man, that we talk about. But the entire time that these things have been being said, I'm telling you, man, that to me, it doesn't make any sense that people would do that, because Derrick James is a very, very good trainer, if not a great trainer. And that is shown by his record in the ring and the things that he's done with the fighters that he's trained. And I just find it really, really ridiculous that people would just assume that as soon as you lose that they're just going to dump him. It seems more like that was wishful thinking than any type of real, inquiry into what was truly going on in the camps. Now, I'm not saying that people, that there's not anybody ever disgruntled in a camp, but I just thought that that was so unfair to Derrick James. But not only is that the case with Ryan Garcia, it's also the case with Anthony Joshua, because just released yesterday was a picture of Derrick James, Anthony Joshua back in the United States at World Class Gym with Derrick James training. So if Anthony Joshua was firing Derrick James, what's he doing at World Class Gym in Dallas, Texas, training with him? Okay, so pop goes the weasel on that nonsense too. But anyway, I just thought that those are good things to see. Derrick James has put in a lot of good work, man, and he does not deserve, as a fighter and as a trainer, really doesn't deserve all of that stuff that people were putting on his head. Also, but on to the more, the bigger topic in the video, the real topic in the video was that Terence Crawford is going to fight Errol Spence at 154 pounds. My hat goes off to Terence Crawford for that. I think that that is a very, very smart move on his behalf. And I think that it is a right move. It is a right move, the right move for him to make because of the other things that he had said about willing to move up to 154 pounds to fight Jermell Charlo, being willing to move up to 168 pounds to fight Canelo Alvarez, and in his career, just looking for the big fights, right? I had said that, it would be mighty funny looking and this is something that originally had come out of the camp of Terence Crawford through Steve Nelson. So it's not like people are just throwing that out there on Terence Crawford. It was coming from people associated with his camp that said they did not want the fight. They were looking to have the fight at 147 because they hope Errol doesn't really even want to take it because it's a waste of time, right? So thinking that that's a waste of time, but using 147 as the excuse when you're willing to move up to 154 for somebody else is just a bad look, man. So to see that the fight is at 154 pounds, I'm going to just say, hey, man, so obviously Terence Crawford agreed to it. Now, this is something, again, coming from Derek James. I don't know if there was any more money requested for it or not. I don't believe that he said anything about that. I don't know if, how much haggling took place in order to get there. I'm just going to assume that, that Errol Spence did, that the situation was what Terence Crawford said it was when he talked about that rematch clause and what Steven Espinoza had said when he talked about it, which was that, look, man, the fight was going to it wasn't as easy for Terence Crawford just to say, I don't want to fight you at 154 pounds while I can fight other people at 154, right? So it's probably a combination of that. But either way you go, it would be Terence Crawford abiding by the contract and keeping his word, which you got to give people credit for doing. There are a whole lot of people go to court, or several people that go to court to try to not keep their word. Case in point is Tyson Fury when he fought Deontay Wilder, or when they were preparing to fight for the third fight with Deontay Wilder. He didn't keep he tried everything he could not to give Deontay Wilder that rematch and try to get out of it by claiming all kind of different things. He winds up being forced because they were in court to take the rematch, but he had wanted to move on and not keep his word. So I take my hat off to Terence Crawford for keeping his word. Now, this is according to Derek James. So, hopefully that is all good and true, and there's not anything that maybe he didn't understand or something that people lost in the interpretation of the interview. But whatever the case is, man, looks like it's going to be 154 for that fight. And that right there will get rid of any type of conversation about whether Errol couldn't make 147 or not. Now, Derek James, for his part, I do believe said that the dudes had a good game plan. It really wasn't the weight that affected Errol the first time. And I would expect him to say that because Errol's not going to has not given any reasons for why the fight why he didn't perform well. So his trainer's not in a position to do that either. Doesn't mean that it still isn't true, but I wouldn't expect him to say that. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.